Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Rating Chess Openings, and what opening do we have today? It is one of the most dubious and sadly popular openings that I definitely do not have a personal vendetta against, and I'm sure is going to be a great and fun opening. I'm talking the England Gambit. Now, this depressing sight comes after white goes pawn to d4, and we now play pawn to e5, giving away our e-pawn for free. Why do we do this? Well, let's start off with the pros, or I should say pro, because the only flimsy, floppy, paper thin reason you would ever play this is that after white captures, we can play knight to c6 here, attack the pawn, and we do have one trap we can try and go for. White will now defend the pawn with knight to f3 here, and we now play a move queen e7. Attacking the pawn once again and blocking in our bishop, but they must defend it with bishop to f4 here, and here we can now play queen to b4 check. We do get a triple fork here, attacking their king, bishop, and b2 pawn, and they can defend the two most important ones with bishop back to d2, and we will now capture on b2 here. We win the pawn back. This is great, but more importantly, we are attacking their rook in the corner. And in a quarter of games here, white will play bishop c3. Try to defend the rook like this, which sadly loses to bishop b4, pinning their bishop to their king, and here they're losing because they're either going to lose the rook in the corner, or if they're not careful with queen up to d2, they can blunder a quick checkmate on move 8. Now, this trap is fun, but that sadly is the only pro I have for you today, and now is time to go into the cons. Now, while that one trap may be fun, the reason its opening is such a dumpster fire is if they play the move knight to c3 here, defending the rook like this, and you are going to have a miserable time from here. Even though material is equal, white has a massive lead in development and more space in the center and pretty much everywhere. And what can we even try to do here? Our only good move here is bishop to b4 to try and attack something. White will now play rook to b1, attack our queen and try to get eyes on our bishop, and we have two lines here, queen to a3 and sacking the queen on c3 here. Sacking the queen, it sounds fun, it's a queen sack, but the problem is after this capture, white can just block with knight to d2. Yes, we can take one more pawn, and we're down 2 points of material here, but like, why? We're down 2 points of material, but for what? I mean, after like pawn to e3, white is nowhere near struggling here. They can simply castle. What is our initiative? What is our point for sacrificing? If you're coming up with a blank, that is the right answer. We're down material, we have no plan, and white is going to convert quickly, and we are lost. So the queen sack line is just a massive disappointment, but the other line here, we can play queen to a3, maybe even sadder. Now, reason for that is white has many ways to get a great advantage here, but the most convincing way, knight to d5, we're going to lose at least 90% of games here. But why actually is that? Our bishop here is attacked a lot now, and also the c7 fork here is also attacked. So the only move here that actually works is to sadly have to trade and then play king to d8, which is, I have to say, disgusting. And we're doing terrible here, but we can grab an extra pawn back here with queen takes on a2 first and attacking the rook, but after a simple rook to d1, we have to play king to d8 once again, and this is even worse. Because of this battery, white now has knight to g5. Attacking this pawn now with this other fork, our only way to defend would be knight to h6, but now a savage pawn up to e6. And we are getting just absolutely destroyed here. There is no hope. We cannot capture the pawn like this, because then knight to b4 check, discovered, check, and our queen is lost. There's just no hope there. The other try would be to capture with the other pawn, but now knight takes on e6. There's just, once again, no hope. We are forced to capture. Moving over would lead to a quick checkmate. With knight takes, we're getting forked, and after we run queen to f4, we're simply getting checkmated there. We would have to capture the pawn, and then knight to b4, and we once again lose the queen to the same tactic. So that is just complete losing. There is no hope there, and because of that, that kind of makes the entire knight to c6 line, which is the main line, kind of useless. And that brings me into my second and other massive con here, which is there are no good alternatives. Another line you can try here would be bishop c5, And this does carry one trap after like knight to f3 here. We can try pawn to d6. Try to attack here. White will capture. If they play like bishop f4, by the way, we're just losing. But if they try to capture, then we can pre-move knight to e7, and white might think we've blundered and capture, but then a simple bishop takes on f2 check, and we are actually winning here because they are forced to capture, and now we win their queen. We're actually doing very well there. We are winning. But the problem here is they have so many ways out. Notably, they just play knight to c3 here. Now the queen is defended, so any of those tactics will not work. We're just kind of having a miserable time here after like knight c6, simply knight f3. We're down a pawn. White has a very easy game ahead of them, and yeah, we're just not doing very well there. What else they can try? They can try gambit with d6 or f6. F6, trying to attack like this. If white captures, admittedly, we do get a decent gambit here after knight captures back, but if they know the brutal pawn to e4, we're doing terrible. We can't even capture now, because then queen into h5. We are just lost here because of g6. We get forked like this, and if they try to, or if we try to run up, then they simply capture and then give another check. There's no hope here. If king runs, then queen is already checkmate. There's no hope here. And like back here, yeah, we could try like knight c6, but after like knight f3 here and pawn captures back, we're not down material. But white can play bishop c4. The bishop is peering right into our soul. We are never going to be able to castle here, and we're also likely going to fall into some knight to g5 tricks, which are also very hard to prevent. So f6 does not really work there. Their other try, which is probably their best in the entire gambit, would be pawn to d6 here, trying to attack like this. And once again, if they capture, after bishop takes, we do get a half decent gambit, I guess, when we were down a pawn, but we do have one extra piece developed. But if white plays a move like knight to f3 here instead of capturing, we're going to be having kind of a miserable time. We can't ever capture because then queen takes, king takes, and now knight takes. We can't castle. We're still down material. We're not doing well there. The other try would be like knight c6, but they can keep on the pressure with bishop to f4 here. Now they're threatening capture and make us have a terrible pawn structure. There's no hope here. We're doing very bad. And even though we're not completely lost, it is still a miserable position. Well, with that rant out of the way, let's put this accidental birth on the tier list. Well, I don't really have too much else to say. There might be some way you can get some half decent gambit in the England, but you will always end up with a worse position, or in some cases just a downright lost position. And so this has nowhere else to go but to the sad F slot, all alone from its friends, and a very nice and corresponding 0 out of 10. Alright, well, I hope you have a great day. Don't play this opening. Yeah, have a good day.